Welcome to Clarity and Purpose. Our world is full of people who are overworked and overwhelmed. They lose focus on what matters, struggle to find a vision for the future, and lose time with those they love. We help businesses and their teams clearly understand their purpose and help them communicate more effectively.
I'm your host, James Thorne. I'm joined by my co-host, Jake Jordan. Hey, Jake.
Hello, Jamathan.
What's up, man?
That didn't even work. Jamathan. It's Jamathan.
Jamathan.
So, Jaime, how about that? Jaime, have you heard of B Corps?
Yeah, we're trying to become one of those certified B Corps.
Yeah. So those of us, the people that don't know, it's a relatively new thing. It's a pretty big movement already, but there's a lot of people that don't know that there are actually corporations. So, you heard of like a C Corp or an S Corp or an LLC or whatever. B Corp is actually a new kind of business that tries to balance purpose and profit.
Right.
And they're legally required to consider the impact of their decisions, on their employees and customers and suppliers and all that stuff. And so it's like this big community of leaders that are driving this hopefully this global movement of using business as a force for good, which is awesome.
Yes.
Right?
And I love that it's accountability to do it.
Yep.
It's like they're literally paying money to be a part of something to keep accountable to make a difference in the world.
What?
I love it. I love it so much. And it's what we're about.
Yep.
And what's so great about our next guest today, that's what they are about. They want what they do to make an impact in the world. They don't want to just make money. They want to make a difference with that money and the resources they have. So let's introduce our guests like we do every week.
Meet the Turners. Joey is a sales agent at Rethink Home Group. He's the co-owner of Brood, CEO and founder at City Shapers, and LeeAnn. She's in pharmaceutical sales and the chief baker at Honey Bee Bread. They are entrepreneurs and they love to give back. So let's dive in and meet the Turners. Hey guys, how y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, awesome. I'm glad to get connected with y'all. I heard lots of cool stuff about what you're doing, and people that watch this podcast know that we really just love connecting with people who are mission-minded, who just want to be out there and do things that help people. So tell everybody who you are, and let's start with the huge portfolio of things that you guys are involved in.
I don't know if we're ADD or if we're just busy or, I don't know. We just like to do lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if you're similar to us, then you're our kind of people. We like to hang out with people that are similar so that we don't feel as weird.
Yes, for sure. I mean, even these glasses get me a hard time.
In the background too. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, real life. Cool. So you guys are involved in several projects. I know Brood is one because you told me beforehand that I've drank coffee there quite a few times.
Good.
Why don't we just start there? What got you started with Brood?
Yeah. Well, Brood, we're about 8 years old now, a little over 8 years. So the whole vision is about 9 years old. But, my background is ministry. So I was on Young Life staff for about 15 years and church staff after that. And being on church staff was great. I got connected with some people who were mission-minded. I felt a little confined, this backstory, in my role, mostly just because of my giftedness. And so on a mission trip in China with some business guys, we saw a model that just blew me away. And the model was really, how do you add value to culture and that be enough for them to notice that there's something different about you? And so people were flocking to it. And so some of my partners were there and we're like, we need to figure out a way to do this in our hometown. And so in China, you don't have the opportunity to, build a church and it just all of a sudden people just show up, or be a pastor and people, just see you as a hero and pass you the keys to their lake house on the weekends. You're actually, you don't want to tell people you're a pastor. And so what that means is you have to, add value
and get creative.
Yeah. I mean, just like you should as a business. And so, or a nonprofit. And so anyway, we came back and we're like, why don't we try to find an area in Fort Worth that needs something rebuilt or a way to add value. And so the coffee shop just seemed to be the way to go. And this was, 9 years ago, before there was a coffee shop on every corner. So So that led to kind of, craft beer was beginning to be, on the scene. And so we merged those two. That's where, the idea of Brood came from. And so our mission is serve people, bless the city, and impact the world. And so we thought if we could, figure out a way to add value with no strings attached. We'd seen some models that had kind of, especially in Fort Worth and here in the South, where people were, kind of, I don't know,
bait and switch.
Yeah, they were wounded by some bait and switch. Basically, hey, I don't know your name, but could you come to our thing on Sunday? Or even some coffee shop models where there was a church connected to it, and people were trying to get you to come to their thing. And so we were like, if we're going to do this right in an area that really needs to be revitalized, they would sniff that out. And so we just need to do it the right way. If we are creative and we have the right, model, hopefully the city of Fort Worth would be proud. And so that's where the idea of Brood came from. Our dream really was, and you'll like this being a marketing guy, but in our heads, we thought if we could create a place or fill a void where people in Fort Worth would be proud to bring their friends instead of having to go to Dallas or Austin. Like maybe they didn't even know it, but when their friends came in town, they're like, you got to go to this cool place, Brood. Then that would be a win for us of adding value. And so that was the beginning of the game. And so that's the behind the scenes stories. Now, since then, I mean, because of some of the things we've done, mostly in blessing the city, they asked us if we wanted to be part of a bid at the airport. And so anyway, so that we were able to get into the airport and
in the international terminal. So
Ooh.
That's been really cool because like Joey said, the mission is bless the city or serve others, bless the city, and then impact the world. And so we're literally being in the international terminal. That fulfills that last part of the mission.
So cool.
That's really cool.
It's so cool.
Are you looking for a framework you can just tune into and follow? Are you tired of chasing tactics and strategies that never get you to the growth as other people? Here's the thing. Frameworks are what make dreams work. It's not sexy, it's not shiny, it's just the plain old truth. Are you currently working in a successful framework? Without a clear framework, you're aimlessly wandering, trying to recreate something you didn't follow a recipe for the first time. You'll struggle to find the right steps to get you more leads and more great employees to grow with you. It's as if you're looking through shattered glass. You see glimpses of what you did well, then your vision is lost through all the cracks. All because you didn't take action to start working in proven frameworks. We know what it feels like to chase all different kinds of tactics and strategies to try to get success. It's like a fog has obstructed your vision and you don't know what to do next. That's why we use proven frameworks and step-by-step plans that lift the fog of confusion so you can have a clear path forward to revenue growth and audience reach. We want to help, so here's the plan. Step 1, click the link below and sign up for the course. 2, follow the steps. And finally, grow your company and feel awesome because you finally found the formula that works. Imagine knowing exactly what your next move is. You have a system that runs for you and a team that is full of energy and excited. The people you're helping are excited and sharing their experiences with others. You are the company people want to work with. That can be you. Just click the button below and start the Quirk Growth Plan course.
It's so cool how missions happen not the way you expect them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When we added that, we're like, well, that sounds like a big vision, which is what we were after, but like, how are we going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And so when that opened up, we were just blown away. And I just bring that up only because when we're fighting to keep in line with our mission of bless the city, that means that, hey, we're highlighting other people's products. Anytime a new restaurant opened up, we would post them on social media and say, welcome to the neighborhood. And so we coined a phrase, collaboration's the new competition. Mm-hmm. We'd get so many more likes on our posts when we would do that. And it was just our posture of like, what else can we do? Like, we have a wall. What if outside we could put a mural there that, someone said that just has Brood there that enters into the area that we're in. And we're like, no, we need to follow our mission. What if we could figure out a way that it blesses Fort Worth more than us. And so we created a fun mural that says, love the fort, worth the love, with a cowboy. And, it's become really popular in the area.
Yep.
But I really think that's one of the key reasons we got into the airport. So now that mural's up at the airport. So anyway, that's kind of going backwards as far as, hey, we really need to, focus on our marketing and on ourselves. But anyway, it's worked for us. And so we're excited about it.
Yeah. And we're kind of in this economy where we're starting to see more of it, right? Where collaboration really is where people want to start doing it, because not only do they see other people being successful with it, but it feels good, right? Even people who aren't religious are like, no, it just feels better to bless others.
Right.
And I can go to work and feel good. So I know you've got Brood, and you've got several other projects. How does that theme move over to these other projects you're working on? Tell me about something else.
Yeah, I know when the pandemic hit, I kind of took it on myself to learn a new hobby. I mean, I had been cleaning house like a mad woman. I mean, scrubbing the baseboards. I was ordering these ridiculous vacuum attachments from Amazon. And he looked at me one day and he was like, I think you need a new hobby. Like, enough cleaning.
We were done. Yeah.
We're done. So I saw a lot of people learning how to bake sourdough. And I thought, I want to do that. And so I got in touch with one of my friends that knew how to do it and watched a ton of YouTube videos and read a bunch of articles, and really just kind of started experimenting with it, not thinking that it would go anywhere at all. And it was really more of a, I've got to find something to occupy my attention and time, because my job had said, okay, you're home until further notice, which I'm in pharmaceutical sales full time. So my company just kept us home until it was safe for everybody to go back into the offices. But basically, I started making some sourdough bread, and we were having fun with that. And then, I realized, okay, one of these days I'm going to have to put regular clothes back on and my pants are going to have to fit. So you know what, let's see what we can do with this. So we just started blessing our neighbors with it and giving it away to them. And during the pandemic, let me back up a little bit. We had started doing little care packages for all of them. And just as hey, we're all in this together. We're here for you guys. Let's stay in contact, because nobody knew what was going on, or really when all of this was going to be over with. We still don't. But we were just, sorry, Ruthie wants to say hello. We were just trying to add value to the people around us and to be a blessing to other people. And the bread just kind of extended that.
Well, we noticed, what I noticed early on was our neighbors were just literally hungry for someone to, communicate with. And so
for community.
So it was almost like an extra bonus when the bread came. We just thought we were just bringing bread over. And then, they were like writing us notes and reciprocating with other wonderful gifts. And
they would leave little cookies on our porch, or, and we didn't expect anything in return. We just wanted to give away to bless them.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just mushroomed. And
right after that, I feel like is when we started seeing some, terrible things happen around town, or nationally. And so you had a heart for a lot of our friends that were going through some tough times.
Yeah. We've got friends that are people of color. We've got friends that are law enforcement officers. And my thing was, I can't fix any of this. I can't do anything to make any of the grossness go away. But if I can show you a token in a tangible way that I care and that I'm here, then that's what I'm going to do. And I know how to bake bread. And if I can just give that away, then yeah, why wouldn't I want to do that?
Yeah.
So it's been fun to watch because, I mean, the underlying thing for us is really, for us to express our faith has been, how do we do that in a tangible way? Like I mentioned earlier, that's selfless and that's adding value. And I saw that, come alive in LeeAnn as she started giving bread away, and more people were just so excited about it. And it didn't take long before people started coming to her like, hey, can you teach me how to make bread? Mm-hmm. Or, hey, I have a friend who's going through some, who has cancer and who's really struggling. Mm-hmm. Could, I don't need the bread, but could you give it to them?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was just this, passing this down effect, or this, trickle effect.
Yeah. Passive ripple effect.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really just took off. And so I call her Honeybee because, because she's anybody she's around, she kind of, people gravitate to her like honey. And so we kind of named it Honeybee Bread. And so her tagline's be a blessing. And so
it's a little bit cheesy, but oh well.
We love it.
You know what though? The bread makes up for it. Because everyone loves bread.
Yeah.
That's good.
Exactly.
That's super cool.
Exactly.
So she's like I don't know how many, almost 300.
I've given away over 250 loaves.
Okay.
And so, people are asking if they can buy it, and I don't sell it. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's a gift, and people that end up wanting more, they'll buy me flour or something like that, or they'll make a donation. But yeah, that's been really cool. And we've just seen some really neat stories come out of it. And it's really, you don't really think of bread as being an instrument to tear down fences between people, but we've really seen that with some of our neighbors that maybe there was just a misunderstanding or miscommunication, or a lot of times you don't like someone because they're different or whatever the case may be. But we've really been able to see some mending of fences with that. So that's been really awesome. Cool. And some cool conversations that have been sparked because of it.
Yeah. It's almost like our parents and grandparents knew what they were doing, right? Bringing casseroles to their neighbors. Totally.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's great. So obviously it's not all rainbows. We've been through a tough season.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. And, one of my favorite things is you are who you are all the time. It's one of the sayings that I love is you give in the tough times and in the good times. It sounds like you guys have been doing quite a bit of that. But tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you've had in the last 6 months, despite the success that's been going on.
Yeah. Our underlying principle, like I said, is what we mentioned about trying to find ways to be selfless. And that is truly where we find our joy. But going through the pandemic and real estate early on, that's what I do full time. And that's where I find my joy, is trying to help people find their homes. But everything shut down for a while, and we were like, what are we going to do? And then of course in real estate, we had just shifted our hours to 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. At Brood.
Yeah.
And that meant that we were going to start using our space at night for events. And
there were no events happening.
Yeah, no events, and all weddings, and every event was just postponed or canceled, and so it was tough. I think too that the challenging part was there was no income coming in. And so that's just a nice way to say there was no income coming in on that end of things. And that was very scary. And that was not
that was not sunshine and roses to navigate at all by any means. But we've seen that God has been faithful through that.
Yeah.
And so we just felt like there were choices we were supposed to make, even not knowing if everything was going to turn out okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and getting to the bone, the backbone of who we are, I think when you're just kind of raw like that, and so I really felt like that's where some of our momentum kicked in, as far as how do we be more intentional with our neighbors?
Mm-hmm.
We have a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to be watching Netflix all the time, or what else can you do?
Right.
So we were like, we have to figure out a way to tangibly show, the love of Christ to other people, even when there's fear and doubt. And so, so that, that's kind of where we turned, I think. And we had to pivot just like everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, when we become so focused on and absorbed in our own situation and in our own, oh my gosh, everything's horrible right now. I mean, that can lead to feeling depressed. It can lead to more anxiety. And I mean, there really is science behind when we do something kind for someone else, it releases the feel-good chemicals, not only in them, but in us as well. And so God totally knew what he was talking about, or whoever. Was it Jesus that said it's more blessed to give than to receive? Right. I think that's in red in the Bible. But it really is. It really is true. And on the other end of that blessing, that person that receives it, they're more apt to turn around and just do something kind for someone else as well. And so this chain reaction happens. But it's a great way to kind of get out of our own minds and take the focus off ourselves, for sure.
Yeah, it's cool how you hear, I forget, there was a couple different drive-thrus during the middle of the pandemic when no one could go in and people were just sitting in the drive-thru and they would pay for the person behind them.
Yeah.
And then they would just go like 15 deep. So the next person, the next person. So it's out there and it's awesome. It's some of my favorite things that I saw. So cool. Well, man, y'all are busy people. We really appreciate y'all coming on the show and just sharing just a little bit about your heart and what you're doing. And tell us anything you got going on right now that people can reach out to you and be a part of if they want bread. Find you or whatever, real estate bread.
I will bake you some bread without a doubt. But we're both on Facebook. And then, Joey Turner, LeeAnn Turner, and then your real estate is Rethink Home. Yeah.
And that, that's one of the things we're most excited about is just, when you buy a home, that's one of the things that's so important. And I think it's so important where you live, because that's where you're going to meet your neighbors. That's where you're going to root. That's where you're going to, get to know your community. And so being a part of that, I take it serious. And so, my tagline and one of our biggest principles is, people over profit. And so that's kind of what we're about. But, so on another note, one of the things we're doing that's kind of unique is, and we'll just kind of end with this, is we started a couple months ago a thing called Dinner Church. Maybe you've heard of it, but it's kind of a micro church. It's really just for people who have been wounded by the church or kind of stiff-armed the church for whatever reason, but are navigating through who Jesus really is, and is he the hope that I'm really looking for? And they're on the fence, or they're just they're longing for community. And so once a month, we'll have a dinner here, have some good coffee, some good wine, and some great conversations over a meal. And so that's something that, we're really excited about. We don't know where it's going to end or, where it's going to lead to, but we just gather and it's been really fun. I think it's giving people hope.
Yeah.
So. That's awesome. That's what everybody needs right now is hope anyway, right? Hope, community, fellowship. So awesome that you guys are doing that. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for a little while today, and have a great rest of your day.
Sure, man.
You bet.
Thanks.
You bet.
See you guys.
See you, James. I told you they were generous.
Well, yeah. They were a little more generous to me, though.
Oh, wow. They were great. I love
so good.
Yeah, and I love how, particularly the sign, when they talk about the sign, how they had this awesome idea for a sign, and the thing they thought was, let's go back to our mission and make the sign about the city, not about us. So it's good. It's so good, so good.
That's awesome, man. We love this. I love that what they're doing for giving this away, and they're not planning on making money. They just want to bless. So thanks for blessing us. One. But if y'all have a need and want to bless others, you definitely reach out to them. They're an incredible couple doing incredible things. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for jumping on. And we believe when a business leader aligns their team with their message, they become unstoppable.